So here's some interesting news. Shuhei Yoshida, if you don't know who that is, he's the current head of the PlayStation division of Sony. He's unsure about the existence of a PlayStation 5. Now, this article just popped up on IGN and came to my attention, and here's what it says in the beginning. Oddworld creator Lorne Lanning has said that the PlayStation boss Shuhei Yoshida has expressed uncertainty as to whether there will be a PlayStation 5. Lanning made the comments on the Game Informer show, as spotted by a current NeoGAF user, generic username, where he said he asked a question about the possibility of a future console ahead of an onstage interview between the two, and he said, "Well, what does the PlayStation 5 look like?" And he said, "You mean if. Are you willing to say that on stage?" Yeah, it's an if. So he's making it very clear that he's not totally sure about the existence of a PlayStation 5. Now, this is interesting. We're getting a upgrade to the PlayStation 4, a very successful console, right in the middle of a generation. And then we have Nintendo, who had their console this generation sell like shit, so they're releasing a console early this generation too. They're starting the next generation early. And then before the whole thing about the PlayStation Neo even popped up, Phil Spencer was talking about how he was interested in the concept of upgraded peripherals for the Xbox One instead of whole new jumps. Of course, he later redacted that, but he said it first. He's probably going to go through with it. The reason why this is interesting is because it is pretty much going in line with what many people were thinking, is that it's possible that the current, 5 to 10 year console generation, the whole concept behind that, is probably going bye-bye. What's probably going to happen, especially if that patent that just got released by Nintendo, or, got cleared by the US Patent Office, with a Nintendo system that could add processing power, it's quite possible that consoles are going to start taking the approach that PCs and cell phones take. It's going to kind of take a mashup of both. PCs in that it's going to keep the same software library, similar titles on it. It's not going to release yearly, but it is going to release on a regular basis, like cell phones, on a more frequent basis than the 5 to 10 year jumps we've been seeing. But it's going to share a software library, and then eventually, as new hardware continues to come out, certain games won't work on the old devices. And this actually isn't too much of a surprise, because the PS4 and Xbox One, and especially the Wii U, were underpowered and anemic right out of the gate. The second they were released, they were just so far behind the curve of what gaming PCs were doing at the time that developers were already complaining about it. Now, that just gets amplified as console generations go on. So 5 years from now, if we still had the regular PlayStation 4, it would be the repeat of the end of the 7th gen, where we had PCs just wiping the floor with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Right now, at least you can run the same games on both and have it be roughly the same. But with the Xbox 360 and PS3, they were holding back game development so much that game developers were outright complaining and wanted new hardware. If new consoles that share the same game library or same platform, kind of like Steam, the App Store, if those just come out every few years, it wouldn't leave gamers left in the old generations in the dust. It would allow hardware to progress faster, and it would be better for developers because they'd have more power to access. The downside would be that the magic of consoles, being that you have a system that is going to play games properly for 5 years, or at least 5 years, that magic's going away. And it could possibly end up being more confusing, but I think that if stuff works out like cell phones, no one's getting confused or feeling alienated when their cell phone gets outdated in a year. So I think that if game console companies can make this work like cell phones do, it could end up being successful, and we could see consoles not necessarily being as far behind PCs as they currently are. They still won't ever catch up because, gaming PCs, people that build those up usually build them up to be pretty beastly. But we shouldn't see as much of a power gap as generations go on. So what do you guys think? First of all, this game footage here is actually recorded on my new Elgato HD60. I was using a Hauppauge HD PVR2 beforehand. This thing records in much better quality. So let me know what you guys think. Sound off in the comments. And if you really, really liked this video, or if you've liked multiple videos of mine, hit the subscribe button. It helps me a lot. I'll see you guys later.